こが私の家。
小春、
どうした？
Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokémon Journeys episode 57, Love is Psyduck. This was the 1142nd episode of the Pokemon anime, and wow, this was definitely an episode of Pokemon Journeys. I don't even know how to describe it. It was funny, but weird, and also dumb. Let's just get into the highlights. Oh yeah, Diamond and Pearl remakes finally got announced, so that's pretty awesome. I made a video reacting to the Pokemon Presents where Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl got announced, as well as a whole new game called Pokemon Legends Arceus. Check that video out if you get the chance, and while I'm making some announcements here at the top, I started a Discord server finally, so if you want a place to come talk to me about Pokemon or anything else, click on the invite link in the description. The episode opened at Chrysa's place, which was different, and she was talking on the phone to her mom. When the topic of a special someone comes up, Chrysa hangs up on her and goes to work. Who hangs up on their own mother? By the way, that's a lot of Psyduck paraphernalia in her room. I wonder if that'll come up again in this episode. Just as Chloe and Eevee arrive at the Cerise lab from a cold walk outside, we see her father leaving to do who knows what. And Ash and Go are out next because Go wants to catch an Ice-type Pokemon while it's snowing. This leaves Chloe on her own as we get a flashback about her little brother is taking Yamper with him over to a sleepover and her mother has to go do something for a friend of hers. That means Chloe is alone for the rest of the day, so she decides to spend some time with Chrysa and Ren, and Gengar too, since it has nothing better to do than to try and scare them. Chloe makes a great point here that maybe Gengar is just in a bad mood since Ash left it behind, and yeah, it's kind of sad when this less than 30-second scene is all we get of Ash's Gengar in 14 episodes? The last time we saw it was in episode 43 when Ash was using it in Galar. That's pretty sad that one of the Pokemon in Ash's current team is essentially restricted to only cameo appearances, but hey, at least Gengar is getting more airtime than Dracovish is. On the other side of the spectrum, here's a fun fact. This was the first episode since its debut, which was in episode 4 of this series, in which Ghost Cinderace didn't appear at all. Another fun fact, the last episode that it snowed in Vermilion City was episode 15, which aired 1 year ago this week. So even though time doesn't really pass in the anime, it's kind of been a year. I guess we can say time can pass, but none of the characters have aged at all. Chloe decides to sit around and watch Chrysa and Ren work, and did anyone else think the fire alarm or something was going off at this point? I could have sworn this alarm noise was coming from real life, not the episode. That totally threw me off for a second. Apparently, it was Sobble who set the alarm off since it was hiding in a control panel and accidentally hit some important lever. I'm surprised Go didn't take Sobble with him either. Overall, I didn't really mind this part of the episode. I thought it was pretty interesting to see what goes on at the Cerise lab when Ash and Go aren't there, even if it was just basic daily tasks. When their work is done for the day, Chrysa offers to let Chloe sleep over at her place, promising to buy her food and have a girls' night sleepover. Then, alright, this was actually pretty funny. The opening theme kicks in as the two of them go shopping together, and this just made me think back to some of the other scenes to have gotten the opening theme treatment. It was epic back in the Zapdos episode when the opening theme kicked in at the climax of that battle. Then the equally epic moment of Go Squovette winning the eating contest also got the opening theme treatment. Those aren't the only times we've heard it in the series, but I just thought it was hilarious that suddenly a girls' night shopping spree is on the same level as something like Go battling a legendary Pokemon. They're basically the same thing, right? I already showed you what happened when Chloe actually got to Chrysa's apartment, and that record scratch moment along with Chloe's facial expression was just great. Chloe is a little taken aback by the messiness of the place and all the Psyduck merchandise, but she's still pretty fascinated by Chrysa having her own place. The two of them get to eating, and meanwhile, whatever happened to Ash and Go? Oh, there they are, freezing and hungry after failing to find any ice types. The little details like snow piling on top of them and the frozen bit of snot hanging from Pikachu's nose were a nice touch. Just as they give up and go to find something to eat themselves, a group of Lapras emerge from beneath the water surface, basically trolling them and their failure to find any Ice-type Pokemon. It would have been an even bigger troll had this been Ash's Lapras' family, but no, these were just some randoms. Back at the sleepover, Chloe stumbles upon this picture of Chrysa, a Psyduck, and its trainer, and Chloe gets it in her head that the guy in the photo may be Chrysa's boyfriend. The two of them start eating, and it should be no shock that Chrysa was in love with her food, if that eating contest episode was anything to go by. She and Chloe talk about Eevee, and when Chrysa suggests that she talk to Ash and Go about how to grow closer with Eevee, we get a funny scene where Chloe shoots the idea down because she imagines Go scolding her for not knowing any better, and Ash just being terrible at explaining how to bond with Pokemon. Sounds about right. Meanwhile, at the ramen stand, Ash has backwards hat mode activated and chugs an entire bowl of ramen. Oh, and of course they happen to run into the Psyduck guy that's in the picture with Chrysa. Alright, what is happening in this episode? Now Chloe and Chrysa are sniffing oils back at her apartment. I felt kind of weird at a couple points in this episode because I was watching a girls' night sleepover, but this just made me question what the heck even goes on at a girls' sleepover? Smelling essential oils? That's not exactly what me and my friends used to do when we slept over at each other's houses. Don't worry though, the ridiculousness doesn't stop there, as suddenly Chloe is dressed up like a Psyduck because apparently these were the only pajamas Chrysa had to loan to her. I guess it's time for bed already, and then they start having a conversation before they go to sleep. And again, I mean, the kinds of sleepovers I used to go to as a kid usually involved playing video games until someone passed out at around 5 a.m., but apparently that doesn't happen on girls' night. Instead, Chloe lies in bed and starts telling Chrysa how beautiful and hardworking she is, and Chrysa starts telling the story about a bad day she had, and then a Psyduck found her crying on a bench in the park, so it gave her a scarf. This was of course when she met that Psyduck's trainer as well, and the three of them made a Snowduck together, and apparently this was the only time Chrysa has ever saw the two of them. The next day, Chloe meets up with Ash and Go, and they mention how they saw the Psyduck trainer, so Chloe starts freaking out and forces them to go on a wild goose chase to try and find the guy, but they're unsuccessful, and she ends up sitting down on a bench in the park. And because this is a TV show, of course the same Psyduck comes by and gives her its scarf. What else did you expect to happen? Chloe drags the Psyduck's trainer back to the Cerise lab, and we get the fateful reunion between Chrysa and her soon-to-be husband. They stare at each other, and it kind of looked like the Psyduck trainer, and yeah, I have to keep calling him the Psyduck trainer because we never even learned his name in this episode. He seemed to be blushing a little bit at this point. I mean, it's probably because some kid just dragged him halfway across town to show him this woman, but let's pretend it's because he's seeing his dream girl again. So, what were you guys expecting to happen at this point? Did you think this was the true love moment where Chrysa and the Psyduck trainer were going to fall into each other's arms? I had a feeling the whole time that something was up here, but it did catch me off guard and make me laugh when she brushed this guy off and hugged Psyduck instead. Chloe was, of course, a little taken aback by this, to say the least, and the episode ends with the group getting another picture together since Chrysa had to commemorate the moment of meeting her true love once again. I'm giving this episode a 6 out of 10 rating. To be honest, I'm not really sure how to rate an episode about a woman who is in love with a Psyduck. I appreciated a Chloe-centered episode, and this is now the second episode that has featured Chrysa's ridiculous personality, and it had a few really funny moments. I can't lie and say this was my favorite episode or anything, but it was an entertaining filler episode. Not much more analysis or discussion I can really think of, to be honest. The next episode is going to be another 2-for-1 special. Oh god, not this again. Strap yourselves in, we've got a double feature of Ash and Go getting stuck in a pack of Gulpin, and everyone's favorite classic, the tortoise and the other tortoise. Well, my expectations for next week are on the floor. My average rating for the other 2-for-1 episodes was a 3 out of 10, so let's see if this one can top those high standards. Alright, come on, we can get through this. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to check out my other videos, including a 10 ideas for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl video that will be out sometime this weekend. Leave me a comment down below about what you thought about this episode, or come join in the discussion over on my Discord server. The link to that is in the description. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.